Chapter 16. The Woman. "Quick," said Mr. Fox. "Hide," he said. He and Badger and the smallest fox jumped up onto a shelf and crouched behind a row of big cider jars. Peering around the jars, they saw a huge woman coming down into the cellar. At the foot of the steps, the woman paused, looking to right and left. Then he turned and headed straight for the place where Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox were hiding. She stopped right in front of them. The only thing between her and in front and them was a row of cider jars. She was so close Mr. Fox could hear the sound of her breathing, peeping through the crack between the two bottles. He noted that she carried a big rolling pin in one hand. "How many will he want this time, Mrs. Bean?" the woman shouted. And from the top of the steps, the other boys called back, "Bring up 2 or 3 jars." "He drank 4 yesterday, Mrs. Bean." "Yes, but he won't want that many today because he's not going to be up there more than a few hours longer. He says the fox is bound to make a run for it this morning. It can't possibly stay down that hole another day without food." The woman in the cellar reached out and left a jar of cider from the shelf. The jar she took was next, but one of the jar behind which Mr. Fox was crouching. "I'll be glad when the rotten brood is killed and strung up on the front porch," she called out. "And by the way, Mrs. Bean, your husband promised I could have the tail as a souvenir." "The tail's been all shot to pieces," said the voice from upstairs. "Didn't you know that? It means it's ruined." "Of course it's ruined. They shot the tail but missed the fox." "Oh, heck, said the big woman. "I did so want that tail." "You can have the head instead, Metal. You can get it stuffed and hang it on your bedroom wall. Hurry up now with that cider." "Yes, ma'am, I'm coming," said the big woman, and she took a second jar from the shelf. "If she takes one more, she'll see us," thought Mr. Fox. He could feel the smallest fox's body pressed tightly against his own, quivering with excitement. "Will 2 be enough, Mrs. Bean, or shall I take 3? My goodness, Metal, I don't care so long as you get a move on." "Then 2 it is," said the huge woman, speaking to herself now. "He drinks too much anyway." carrying a jar in each hand and with the rolling pin tucked under one arm. He walked away across the cellar. At the front foot of the steps, she paused and looked around, sniffing the air. There's rats down here again, Mrs. Bean. I can smell them. Then pose them, woman. Poison them. You know where the poison kept? Yes, ma'am, Mel said. She climbed slowly out of sight up the steps. The door slammed. Quick, said Mr. Fox. Grab a jar each and run for it. Red stood on this high and squirted. What did I tell you? You nearly got nabbed, didn't you? You nearly gave the game away. You keep out of here from now on. I don't want you around. This is my place. You, said Mr. Fox, are going to be poisoned. Poppycock, said Red. I sit up here and watch her putting the stuff down. She'll never get me. Mr. Fox and Badger and the smallest fox ran across the cellar, clutching a bowlen jar each. Goodbye, Rat, they called out as they disappeared through the hole in the wall. Thanks for the lovely cider. Robbers, bandits, burglars.